The neighborhood of Willow Creek had always seemed like the perfect place to live. Its winding streets, neatly trimmed lawns, and cozy cul-de-sac homes gave it the kind of postcard charm that real estate brochures love to flaunt. But beneath the outward perfection lurked something much less picturesque: the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. For years, the WA had been known for its strict and sometimes petty rules. Trash bins left out for more than 12 hours. A fine. Grass longer than 3 inches. Another fine. A front door painted in a shade not pre-approved. Expect a warning letter, followed by, you guessed it, a fine. Still, most residents put up with the rules. After all, Willow Creek was safe, clean, and property values remained high. But everything changed one chilly November evening when the WA board announced a new rule: Christmas decorations were banned. The decision came during the monthly WA meeting. The board president, Margaret Whitfield, a woman with an immaculate bob haircut and a reputation for being the guardian of neighborhood standards, stood behind the lectern in the clubhouse. With winter approaching, she said in her firm but calm voice, we must maintain uniformity in Willow Creek. Excessive holiday decorations can be garish, divisive, and, frankly, unsafe. Therefore, effective immediately, we are prohibiting all outdoor Christmas decorations. At first, the room went silent. Then, as her words sunk in, a wave of murmurs and gasps swept across the room. What? Shouted Tom Baxter, a father of 3 who always went overboard with his synchronized light show every December. You can't ban Christmas. It's not just Christmas, Margaret corrected with an icy smile. All holiday decorations are included: Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Diwali. This is about fairness and safety. Fairness, cried Mrs. Ramirez, who traditionally set up a glowing nativity scene in her yard. What's unfair about celebrating the season? What's unsafe about a few lights? Margaret adjusted her glasses. Extension cords running across lawns, ladders on icy sidewalks, inflatables obstructing visibility. Need I go on? This decision is final. Violators will be fined $250 per day. The crowd erupted in outrage. But Margaret simply tapped the gavel. Meeting adjourned. By the next morning, the neighborhood buzzed with anger. Group texts lit up. Social media posts spread like wildfire. The Baxter kids made a protest sign that read, "Save Christmas," and taped it to their front window. Some residents tried to reason with the board. They wrote polite emails suggesting compromises: maybe limit decorations to certain hours, or restrict the size of displays. But every message received the same curt reply. The first act of defiance came from the Carters, an elderly couple on Maple Lane. Instead of lights, they placed a single candle in their window. It wasn't technically an outdoor decoration, but it glowed brightly enough for the neighbors to see. Soon, more families joined in. Window candles popped up across the neighborhood, like tiny beacons of resistance. Then came the clever loopholes. The Johnsons parked their van in the driveway and painted "Merry Christmas" across the windows with washable paint. The Millers dressed their inflatable Santa in a beach shirt, labeled it yard sculpture, and claimed it was art, not decoration. Margaret was furious. She sent warning letters, but the residents pushed back. The WA meetings became battlegrounds. One resident, Lisa Huang, was a lawyer specializing in civil rights cases. She had lived in Willow Creek for 5 years and usually kept to herself, but this rule struck a nerve. This is overreach, she told her neighbors during an impromptu gathering at the park. And WA can regulate certain things, but banning cultural and religious expression, that crosses a constitutional line. Are you saying it's illegal? Tom asked hopefully. Lisa nodded. Potentially. They're restricting freedom of expression on private property. That's shaky legal ground. The crowd cheered. For the first time, hope flickered. The WA, feeling the pressure, doubled down. In early December, enforcement officers were dispatched to patrol the neighborhood. They photographed suspected violations and mailed out hefty fines. One family, the Robertsons, woke up to find a $1,000 fine in their mailbox. Their crime: a string of twinkling icicle lights hung along their gutter. This is madness. Mr. Robertson yelled, waving the letter in the air. We're being extorted. Tensions escalated. Neighbors began holding nightly light-ins, gathering in front yards with flashlights and lanterns to mimic the glow of decorations. They sang carols loudly enough to echo through the streets, a direct act of rebellion. Meanwhile, Lisa prepared a lawsuit. She gathered testimonies, photographs, and copies of the fines. Her case argued that the HOA had overstepped its authority and infringed on residents' rights. The story caught local media attention. A TV crew showed up to cover the Christmas ban controversy. Interviews with angry residents aired on the evening news, painting the HOA as the villain. Headlines read: Neighborhood HOA steals Christmas spirit. Grinch-like board fines residents for holiday cheer. Public opinion turned sharply against the Willow Creek HOA. Even people outside the neighborhood began driving by at night to honk their horns in solidarity. Margaret, however, refused to budge. "We are upholding standards," she told reporters. "This is about safety and community image." But her words only fanned the flames. Emergency motion in county court to halt the enforcement of the ban. The case was heard on December 18, just a week before Christmas. The courtroom was packed with Willow Creek residents. On one side sat Margaret and the HOA board, stiff and stone-faced. On the other sat families in holiday sweaters, clutching each other's hands. Lisa delivered her argument passionately. "Your Honor, this HOA is not merely regulating yard aesthetics, it is suppressing cultural and religious expression, imposing fines on families for celebrating a national holiday. This is not just about lights and inflatables. This is about freedom." Margaret countered with her usual rhetoric about safety and property values, but the judge seemed unimpressed. After hours of testimony, the judge finally spoke. The court finds the HOA's ban overly broad and unreasonable. The enforcement of this rule is hereby suspended. Residents are free to decorate within the bounds of general safety. The courtroom erupted in cheers. That night, Willow Creek transformed. Within hours, houses lit up as if by magic. Strings of lights twinkled, inflatable Santas waved, and wreaths appeared on doors. Children danced in the streets, their faces glowing with joy. The Baxter family's famous light show returned, synchronized to holiday music that could be heard for blocks. Cars lined the streets to watch. Even families who normally didn't decorate joined in, simply to celebrate their victory. For the first time in years, the neighborhood truly felt united. Margaret, humiliated, resigned as HOA president shortly after. The board elected new leadership, vowing to adopt more reasonable policies. Though the battle was stressful, the residents of Willow Creek gained something invaluable: a renewed sense of community. They had stood up for each other, defended their traditions, and reminded themselves what the holiday season was really about. In the years that followed, Willow Creek's Christmas displays became legendary. Local papers dubbed it the town that saved Christmas. Families from nearby neighborhoods would drive through each December to admire the lights. And every year, without fail, the Carters' single candle still burned in their window. A symbol of the rebellion that had brought the neighborhood together.